Most of our days were spent trying to maneuver around the gatekeeper to get to the person that makes the final decision. And too often you hear, oh, we don't take sales or solicitation calls. Or you hear, oh, we don't do any type of marketing. Most of our business is generated from referrals. Or you hear stuff like, please stop calling us. We are sick and tired of you. This is a hot take that many entrepreneurs would not agree with. But if you're an entrepreneur and most of your business relies on you cold approaching potential clients, I believe it is the worst way in today's time to scale your business, because the same time, energy, and effort that you put into basically getting rejected, you could put that same time, energy, and effort into creating content and allowing that content to be the sales machine that builds trust with people that do know you, with people that do want to work with you, with people that do want what you have to offer, and with people who have a problem that your solution can be beneficial for. So in today's video, I'm going to discuss on why I don't really believe in heavily cold calling and why you should be creating content and how to get started now. When I first started in sales, I was working for this guy. He was about 80 years old. I was a sales development representative. So he had me cold calling all these day spas, trying to book meetings for him to close. Now this was my first sales job, by the way, and he helped me with nothing. My whole experience working with him was basically this. He picked me up by my swimming trunks and threw me in the water and said, go swim. And you know what I did? I sunk. I drowned. I was terrible. Now on my end, I was terrible at it because I had commission breath. I relied heavily on them booking the meeting for my own benefits, because at that time I was living in my parents' house. I didn't really have much going on aside from creating content. So I was disgustingly desperate to book a meeting, wanting those meetings to go well so that those individuals could become clients so that I can get paid, because I was getting paid based off of who will become a client. I wasn't getting paid a salary or hourly. So I was heavily desperate. And during that journey, I don't think I booked not one meeting. Now, like I said, I was definitely terrible, but after some time, you get a little frustrated that every call is a rejection. Sometimes you start to internalize those rejections. You start to wonder, man, why people don't like me? And so I kept calling, I kept getting, oh, we don't take sales and solicitation calls, or stop calling me. Some of those people that wouldn't even answer the calls. That's what I kept dealing with. And so it was extremely frustrating. So after some months, I had a conversation with the business owner, and I said to him, you know what, man, I'm doing everything that I believe that I could to generate some meetings on this calendar, but nothing seems to work. Nothing seems to work. It's hard getting rejected and not getting compensated for it. And so I don't know if I could do this any much longer. And he understood where I was coming from, because he had previous SDR guys who found it extremely difficult to generate meetings, because most of these day spas, they already had that product in a different version. Also, some of these day spas, they were not looking for that type of device because they didn't provide those type of services. Now, after I left that job, I ended up getting another sales job where I was working for this guy that had a marketing agency that was catered towards law firms and lawyers that wanted to scale and grow their firms. Now, I liked this job for multiple reasons. One being that I was getting compensated by the hour. So I wasn't just getting rejected and not compensated. I was getting rejected by the hour and getting some money for it. Another reason why I liked this job, because not only was I cold calling, but I was also contacting warm leads. So that softened the blow of getting consistently rejected. Now, based off of that first job of me working for this guy that was selling those microcurrent devices, I looked at all the mistakes that I made. I looked at all the areas that I could improve, and I hyper-focused on doing the opposite. I hyper-focused on not having commission breath. There was no reason to have a commission breath because I was already getting paid. Now, there were bonuses for individuals that did sign on, but because I was being compensated and I didn't feel financially claustrophobic with all these bills, that allowed me to hyper-focus on building that skill set in terms of sales. Now, with this job where I was working at this marketing agency, I was doing much better learning from my failures, learning from my foolishness, learning from my inefficiencies. I was doing way much better. I was actually booking meetings, and a lot of those booked meetings actually came from warm leads. And those warm leads actually came from the business owner doing an excellent job of developing himself as an industry leader because he was creating content. He vividly articulated these lawyers' pain so well that they wanted to put meetings on the calendar. They wanted to become clients of his. And so that's how I was able to book some of those meetings. Now, my job heavily relied on cold approaching, and I absolutely hated that. I got sick and tired and frustrated conversating with people that didn't know us, that didn't want to work with us, that didn't need us, that didn't like us. That was extremely annoying. And on top of that, it was hard for us because it was me and my coworker who were on the sales development side. It was so hard for us to have conversations with these lawyers because we got stopped by the gatekeeper. Most of our days were spent trying to maneuver around the gatekeeper to get to the person that makes the final decision. And too often you hear, oh, we don't take sales or solicitation calls. Or you hear, oh, we don't do any type of marketing. Most of our business is generated from referrals. Or you hear stuff like, please stop calling us. We are sick and tired of you. Well, I was sick and tired of calling them. I would much rather conversate with these warm leads. On top of that, I got sick and tired of some of these disrespectful receptionists because they having a bad day and I could kind of understand it, but because they deal with so many calls that might not even relate to building the firm up, they have attitude with you, even when you are respectful to them. So I just got sick and tired of all of that. Now, I mentioned that the business owner, he did a great job of developing himself as an industry leader that can articulate their pain and why it's important for them to grow and scale their firm and how to do so. But most of the business required me and my coworker to cold call, which didn't make sense to me at all. Because if we looked at all of his clients, majority of them were not cold clients. Majority of them were not cold prospects to begin with. Majority of them were warm leads that came from him creating content that built that trust. So it was mind-boggling to me why he didn't take content creation to the next level, why we were so hyper-focused on cold approaching. Matter of fact, one of the warm leads that I had to book a meeting with, when I got on the phone with this lawyer, he was talking about the business owner like they had a strong connection. That's how great this business owner was doing and articulated the pain that a lot of these lawyers were experiencing and not growing their firms. He was talking about this business owner like he was a fan of his content, and the business owner didn't even have maybe 600 subscribers at that time. Not only was he a warm lead that wanted to do a meeting with us, he actually became a client. Now, I must admit, I did get fired from that job because cold approaching was not my expertise. I was not good at it. Now, there are many reasons why a lot of entrepreneurs rely heavily on cold approaching to grow their business, even though creating content is easier. I would much rather create content than cold call somebody. One of those reasons is that many entrepreneurs suffer from the idea that they need to be perfect. Everything need to be perfect. They got to have the perfect setup. They have to have the perfect lighting. They have to have the perfect camera. They have to have the perfect video editing. Their videos have to be edited like they work for Marvel or some type of movie company. Everything just needs to be perfect. Even though that's insane, because we are the most imperfect people on this planet. We will never be perfect. And that's actually a great thing because that imperfection is what gives us our uniqueness, our aura, our speciality. It's what makes us us. It's what makes us originals rather than copies. Now, with you being imperfect, just like all of us, your future audience, they don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be present. In fact, they prefer you to be present over perfect because by being present, you allowing yourself to just be you with your imperfections and your flaws and your mistakes and just all of you, that allows you and them to have that connection, that allows that trust to flourish, to develop. Your future audience, they want to know the real you. They want to know that you are human just like them. They want to see the real you. And that real you should be seen because by seeing the real you, now they feel like they know you. Now they feel like they can trust you. Now they want to do business with you. Another reason why so many entrepreneurs rely too heavily on cold approaching rather than creating content is because of the fear of judgment. If I put myself out there, my family might see this, and because they know me so much for who I used to be, they may judge me for who I was trying to be. If I put myself out there, if I post content with me on there, just being the imperfect me out there, the old coworkers, they may talk about me. If I put myself out there for the world to see who I am, a keyboard warrior, somebody who ain't got no life, is going to disrespect me. They're going to leave a negative comment on my video. The fear of judgment, the assumption that someone will have a negative opinion about you is what keeps so many entrepreneurs stuck relying on cold approaching rather than creating content and creating connection. When I created my very first piece of content, you want to know what I learned? If you're not popular or if you don't have no fame, it is possible that no one is going to watch the very first videos. So you have every reason to not fear potential judgment and to post yourself. The people that do know you, because they know you, they probably don't want to see that video. That video is more than likely not for them. So there's no reason to fear their potential judgment. Also, if you have an assumption that someone will have a negative opinion about you, here's another thing that I learned about the fear of judgment. Too many people are too concerned of themselves to form a negative opinion about you. There's another reason why you should not fear the fear of judgment and why you should not allow it to immobilize you from creating content. Your future audience, they need your presence. They don't need you to be immobilized by this irrational fear because you're keeping your greatness, your solution from their problems away from them. You're doing them a disservice by not creating content, by not showing up on camera. I once heard Myra Golden say that there's millions of people that will love to buy what you had to offer if only they knew you existed. And millions of people will miss out on what you have to offer because they don't know that you existed, because you rely too heavily having one-on-one conversations with people when you could be creating content that reaches the masses. Here's one last reason why too many entrepreneurs rely too heavily on cold approaching when they could be creating content. If what you did in the past created some success, it is hard for a lot of entrepreneurs to believe that doing things in a different way could create that same success or even more success. Too many entrepreneurs are too stubborn and stuck in their ways, not willing to evolve with time. Why? Because they don't really see the benefit of doing certain things. Too many entrepreneurs believe that creating content is either for young people or for people that have no skills. Because they see content of people that don't have skills, all they doing is some of these dumb dances. They believe that they couldn't benefit from creating content, that their business couldn't grow and scale from creating content. But that's a false belief system. Because if we go back to the quote that Myron Golden said, that there are millions of people that would love to buy what you have to offer if only they knew that you existed. If you're able to create content that revolves around your business and you've articulated well how your solution solves their problems, that can drastically change their lives and it can drastically change your own life. So there is benefit in you creating content and risking getting out of your comfort zone and doing something differently and challenging the old ways of what you used to do in the past. If you stay stuck in the past, your business will die in the past. So it's time for you to evolve. It's time for you to move on with the times. It is time for you to start creating content. Now, if you're ready to evolve with the times, this is what I want you to do. I don't want you to think about being perfect. I don't want you to think about the potential judgment of others. I don't even want you to think about how uncomfortable and how much of a risk it will be to create content. This is what I want you to do. I want you to pull your device out and I just want you to start recording content. Do it now. Do it messy. Do it ugly. Do it while it doesn't feel perfect, because no one needs you to be perfect. People need you to be present. They need you to be present with the solution that you have that's going to help transform their lives. Don't care about what someone's opinion of you could be. That does not matter. And more than likely, people are going to be too concerned of themselves, with themselves, to form an opinion about you. And lastly, it may be uncomfortable, but any skill can be developed if you force yourself to be uncomfortable and you continue to do it. That's how you begin to create content effortlessly. So hopefully this video added tremendous value to you. And I would encourage you to subscribe because I'm going to continue to do more videos like this. Peace. Thank you so much for watching this video. Matter of fact, if you watch either one of these videos, I promise you they're going to solve a problem that you have.